It's really entertaining. Okay. Speak for you. Yeah. Hello and welcome to Hexham Town Council here in Hexham Abbey. It is not the 9th of September, it is the 14th of October 2024. That's my first mistake of this evening. Okay, so have I got the agenda? Thank you. Right, so about to buy the chair, that's just been done. First of all, we're going to do public participation, so we're going to ask if there's anybody in the public who would like to ask a question of anything, any matters relating to Hexham or for the attention of the council. Is there any questions? No. Fine. Apologies for absence.
Councillors Betty, Farrell, Hartland and Cessford.
And this is Councillor Smith. I was watching. Any disclosures of interest? None. Any dispensations? None. Thank you. Okay. We're now going to go to item number 7, which is to receive a brief update on the on-year event, and I'll hand over to David Dixon.
Thanks for the invite, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity just to update you, mainly with reference to the On Your Bike event, but also a few other things which have been happening in relation to that, and things which are going into the future. So I think the event itself proved to be very successful, and we had a good reception from everyone who attended, and very little complaint about closing the roads on that particular Sunday. And any complaints that there were, we were able to deal with them, politely, and the people concerned, I think, were happy with our response after they said, we caused inconvenience or whatever. So I don't think there's any bone of contention left from that particular process. And I think it was one way that, as I said on the slide, it was cycling the talk, really, and it was trying to show that we could repurpose the streets to good effect, in this instance to accommodate cycling. And I think from that point of view, it sort of proved the point on the ground. People could see what it was like, and I think often, as we know, seeing is believing. Often talk is cheap, so I think it was a good demonstration of what's possible anyway. It also, I think, clued into the issue of effect on business, and I'll come on to that a bit later, but I think it's an integral part, I think, of Hexham's plan for small business development, and I think if we can show that cycling can be a positive in that sort of area of development, then we've won over hearts and minds on that score, because there are some businesses which still think, understandably, that if you restrict motor vehicles, then you're going to restrict their business. And I think we need to do some more work on that, perhaps with certain businesses. So I've just going to give you an excerpt of some of the scenes of the event. We had at least 800 people attend, possibly up to 1,000 actually. We gave out stickers, and we counted how many stickers we gave out, but we didn't give stickers to everyone who attended over the 4 hours of the event. So it was very well attended, and hence the businesses that were open on that particular day, they did report a big increase in their footfall from a normal Sunday, which I think is good evidence from what I was just saying before about business development. We had people giving rickshaw rides, as you can see there, and I gave rickshaw rides as well in the cargo bike that Hexham has managed to get from the county council. I'll show you that in a minute. And I think as we go through, you can see that there were lots of happy faces. I think you can't measure the happiness necessarily over those hours that we ran the event, but it was certainly in evidence from the reaction of people, their body language, and the fact we had so many people smiling, which is always nice to see, even on quite a chilly Sunday. At least it didn't rain. And we had people representing various organisations there, and they were under the shambles. We had free bike maintenance. We had other organisations there representing tourist opportunities of Kielder, and other sort of people who were selling second-hand bikes or new bikes, electric bikes, this sort of thing. So it was very good for them actually. They picked up quite a lot of business on the back of their presence at the event. We also had a veteran cycling club who had some turn of the 19th, 20th century bikes, and they came in suitable costume for that, and they did the circuit along with everybody else. That was quite a nice touch, I thought. Saw some really old bikes. And we had some novelty bikes from Prada. There was an organisation that they build their own bikes, and then they ride them, and they go around various events. And we were very pleased for them to come along because people greatly enjoyed having a go on these novelty bikes which they built. You can see on the left there the Hexham Community Cargo Bike, and that's going to be a free facility for people to borrow once they've had training for it. So I'm still waiting for the County Council to get the training programme underway. So we've got a batch of people who are trained up, and then they can sign it out from the Wentworth Centre, and then use it for family or perhaps for businesses as well. We had things like decorate your bike competition. We had various art activities going as well. Children could draw on the road, which was great, just before you go down the hill. And yeah, there's another picture of a novelty bike which someone's trying there. And we had a great range of ages. We had under 2-year-olds on the back of bikes. We also had people on small children on balance bikes and 3-year-olds. And we also had people up to, I was talking to someone who was 78 who got an electric bike, and he did the circuit as well. He lives in central Hexham somewhere. Yeah, you can see on the left there, I was roped in to take kids on little rickshaw trips in the cargo bike, which was great fun. Although quite nerve-wracking actually, because you're taking people's children's lives in your hands, sort of thing. But anyway, I didn't lose any, thank goodness. Yeah, this is the gentleman who's 78, who's very pleased to come round, and he said he was an early adopter. He'd had an electric bike for 16 years, apparently, so he was an ultra early adopter in Hexham, and he was a native Hexham person as well. You can see the unicyclist there as well. That went down well. Another sort of novelty to add to the occasion. And the other thing that I think it emphasised to me is it's not just about bikes. It's also about any sort of wheeled vehicle that doesn't use the roads regularly. So we had quite a number of people with motor mobility scooters, and they were very, very pleased to go around with the cyclists as well. So the latest events some of them emanating from that main event are listed there, which I've given you on a leaflet, and Derek's very kindly distributed as well online. Is to flag up the fact that we're having more stewarded bike rides from the centre of Hexham, because we had one of those we had 3 of those on the day. So they went down to Warden and back, 3 rides. We've got some more free bike maintenance. On Saturday there was another session of that, and there will be on another 2 occasions. One of them in East Hexham, and we've got key cycling skills going on, which is shown here. This that lady on the left is called Jan, and she trains adults who need a little bit of extra confidence on a bike, or teach adults who've never ridden a bike before. So we hope to develop that as we go along. And I think it all keys into this active travel scenario that I think you've been all very positive about in the past, and I think we need to try and show all these benefits to various stakeholders, in particular businesses, I think, but not exclusively so. Link up with health provision, and link up with other environmental groups that want to improve the environment of Hexham, whether it be improved air quality or better or improved land use of the actual central Hexham area. And so the main messages that came through from the public, I mean, I've talked to lots of people on the day, and these are the main messages. So many people said that, well, Hexham needs a bike shop, and we are working on that in terms of establishing a bike hub. So watch this space on that one. We just have a problem with narrow pavements and difficult curbs. I think that's been an ongoing challenge that we need to address, I think. A need for better links with public transport, need for secure bike storage and electric charging points. More people would cycle regularly around Hexham if there were designated cycle lanes, particularly around the bunker area. And I think there's opportunities there actually to, without disrupting the traffic, to have some more designated cycle routes that would loop central Hexham quite successfully without an enormous amount of expenditure. So I'm exploring that with the County Council at the moment. And it doesn't need huge sort of excavations and I think adaptations of the road system that we've got at the moment, but I think it could be tweaked to make it more bike friendly without being too radical. So again, watch this space on that one. And the survey, we did more survey work, that's more detailed survey of what people think about cycling in Tynedale more generally, particularly Hexham. So if you, I've left you the link to that, the QR link. So if you would like to just pass that on to anyone you know to do, then it will help us get some more responses. We've got a target of 1,000 responses by the end of the year. So we've got about 260 at the moment. So we're not doing too badly, but we need another push to get more people to respond to the survey. And from that, I think we've then got more sort of not exactly ammunition, but we've got more data to prove certain points that we need to make to particularly to the county council, so that we can get more improvements for cycling more generally. And we've also got another quite significant event, I think, coming up on the 4th of November, which is a stakeholder meeting to draw up a new cycling strategy for Tynedale. And it's being headed up by Rob Albrook, who I'm sure you all know. And there are quite a lot of influential people from Tynedale and the County Council coming to that. So if any of you would like to come to that, then please let me know, and you're more than welcome. So I think it is it's a coming together of different groups who've already got strategies of their own. We want a more cohesive strategy for Tynedale in order to take things forward in a more sort of cohesive way. So I think that's a very exciting opportunity going forward. So that's the main update. There's just a couple of other things I'd like to say, and just thank yous really, but certainly thank you to John Ord, who has been supportive and helpful in many ways from the start of my tenure. Also Derek, who's also been very supportive and a good critical friend of what we're trying to do, and particularly Mike, who's helped in many practical ways and also been very encouraging. I think we've at various points wobbled a bit and thought, well, should we carry on, particularly with the ambitious On Your Bike event? So big thanks to all those people. And I think the last thing to say really is that I think we can really start to put Hexham on the map with this sort of thing, because I think it ties into the bigger topic of sustainability. And I can see Hexham being as famous, say, as Totnes in Devon, you know, for being a forward-looking, future-proofing town. And I think biking would be part of that. And you've got other things going on, such as the the development of the old middle school and other sort of sustainability project, which I think if we can bring them together, I think we can really put Hexham on the map and help grow business in a green way, and also help tourism and all sorts of other things. So I think there are lots of easy wins here if we continue to work together on it. Well, thank you very much. I don't know whether any time for questions, but
yeah, I'll allow questions, but only in a limited time, because
yeah.
I'm conscious that we have community partnership here and we want to speak to community partnership. Yeah, so any questions?
I saw your presentation at Hexham Civic Society, and congratulations on the actual event itself. It took some doing. We spoke about before about how cycling dipped after COVID, and that the need for volunteers. And you spent a few notes about having a destination Hexham as such. And we go to like Cafe Enna, there's lots of cycling people there. Is there any aspirations to have a Hexham cycling club specifically, and for that to spread out and that cycling actually on the agenda for Hexham?
Well, there are quite a number of clubs that people can join, but some of them are sort of Hexham based, which we've been talking to. And Rob Albrook has got a club as well, and also Ted Little, he's got a local club as well. I think my main focus is more on trying to get more, in inverted commas, ordinary people back on bikes, because there's quite a sort of a gap between those that can cycle and those that can't. And there are a lot of issues around that in terms of disadvantage and all sorts of other things. So my main focus really, and I think the event showed this, is to get more people to see cycling as an everyday, ordinary activity rather than something that you have to get lycra on to do. So that's.
Does that include schools?
Yeah, definitely. And I've been liaising with schools about that, and they've got bikeability, and there's the issue of trying to get better routes from east to west Hexham so that children can ride to school more easily, all these sort of things. So, that's all trying to bring all this together, really.
Right, thank you.
Anybody? Well, thank you, David. I think there's nothing wrong with wearing like rabbit CVs. Oh, we are getting yeah, I'll wear like rabbit. Anyway, well done on your event, and I think certainly these Learn to Ride and the support of the events that you've got lined up as well are really welcome. I'm conscious, that you're the Tynedale cycling mess, so obviously, we're content that Hexham's been included and probably was wise to be your first endeavour.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know from speaking to other councillors in other areas, they want to see that spread. So that would be really, really good if we can, try and all the
That's very disqualified. We have a different product. I think there was slightly bigger than envy again.
Yes.
So I said that I've reached out for the council in particular to say, well, why not? Let's do a product equivalent.
Yes.
And they seem to be quite hot for that.
That's good. Okay, well, thank you so much, David.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you plugging in or?
No, I'm going old school and no PowerPoint. So.
Okay, so our next item is to receive a presentation from Hexham Community Partnership on their future strategy. So over to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for inviting Deborah and myself to discuss our Hexham Community Partnership and an emerging strategy going forward. Just a quick introduction. So my name's Neil Wilkinson. I'm the chair of the Community Partnership. I've been chair for a number of years. I can introduce Deborah Anderson. She's now the manager of the Community Partnership. She joined us in June. when she replaced Jez, who we all know, or should I say, the honorary steward and bailiff of Hexham. So, and I never really got a more formal thank you for that honour, and it was really much appreciated. And for me, it was also an appreciation of the staff team, because Jez couldn't have done what he did without the staff team. So it was a real honour for the partnership to be, for Jez to be made the steward and bailiff of Hexham. As I said, I'm not prepared a PowerPoint. I'm slightly old school. Keep away from PowerPoints because I'm such a technophobe and I can't make them work. I'll just give a quick overview, 10 minutes. Deborah's going to hit me if I go too fast, so I'll try and keep it slow. And really what I want to do is give a quick presentation of where we are, where we want to go, and to have a discussion with yourself about whether you feel comfortable with that and going forward. So it's really, it'd be nice to have me do 10 minutes, and 10 minutes you give me questions. Deborah will answer all the difficult questions, and I'll do all the high-level strategy questions, the easy questions. So what is Hexham Community Partnership? We're a development trust. It's just probably remind everybody we are a development trust. We're community-based, community-owned, and community-led. And our remit is really to look at the economic, environmental, and social generation of Hexham. So that's our founding position. We serve Hexham, the surrounding areas, and if you go on our website, it says what our aim is. We want to make Hexham a more vibrant, enterprising, adaptable market town for residents, businesses, and visitors. So our website sets out what we want. We're not for profit limited company. We were incorporated in 2006. We have a board, a lot of diverse skills on that board, and we have a range of volunteers. And to be honest, we wouldn't do anything without our volunteers. We absolutely 100% rely on our volunteers to do everything. We have an AGM, so we held our AGM recently, and anybody can join our board, and we're open to anybody, and our AGM's open. Every member has a voting right, so we are driven by our members and our board. So on the volunteer side, I was really pleased when we developed Team Hexham, which I know has gone to one side, and we do need to resurrect that. But volunteers, supporting communities is in our DNA. One of the good examples of that is the partnership was set up, and we're really proud that we set up number 28, Hexham East Community House, which is established in 2008 and really plays a significant role in the East End of Hexham. It's quite sad that the demand is still there. There's a lot of demand still on number 28. And we've been talking to number 28 a lot about how we can better support them and how we can move forward. They've come to a decision that really their only way of coming forward is to become a charity in their own right. As you're aware, we did try on numerous occasions to become a charity, but we kept getting caught out with the Charity Commission about our non-charitable activities, so promoting tourism, the visitor economy. That stopped us getting charitable status. Working with number 28, their board, their officers, they want to be a standalone charities, so they can then start accessing funding that we can't access because we're not a charity. So we're working with number 28 to help them set up to be an independent charity. That's not going to be a quick thing. It's not going to be weeks, it's not going to be months, it'll be years. But we'll stand by them to set them up to be a charity and make sure that they still can support the East Hexham and also wider Hexham. So we won't restrict them to East Hexham. We wanted them to support across the area. As you're aware, we do a lot of events, and we can do and provide them directly. So Spook Night, which is emerging, and I'm told, Derek, you and I are judging the best outfits. We did the Christmas market. We support yourselves on the firework and the winter light switch on, and we help coordinate others. So Santa Lucia is something we're helping, and I think that's just the tickets have just gone on sale now. Good sales on that one. We are increasingly working with independent businesses, and I'm really delighted that we're getting more independent businesses on our board. So we've got new people coming from independence sitting on our board. And for me, it's a breath of fresh air having those people sitting on our board. They've got different ideas. They're more entrepreneurial than I am ever, so that they come up with ideas, and they've got a much more better can-do spirit. I mean, and a good example of that is the Father Christmas event that we're holding at the old jail. Ho Hexham, I'm told, yes. So, and it's a new, exciting event for us, driven by the independent businesses who joined our board, and it's really going to work really well. It's also meant that we forged closer links with Northumberland Museums, which is recently moving over to Tyne and Wear Museum Service. So that's an opportunity for us that we never had before, and working with them to make that into a better place and really exploit what we have in the town. I'm a bit of a technophobe, but we have a fantastic reach on Visit Hexham website. It's an unbelievably good reach, and it's getting better. Jamie's here, sitting at the back, big plaudits. When she tells me that our annual reach on the Facebook is 330,000 people, that's gone up by 484%. We have 31,000 on our Instagram. This is how we're reaching people nationally. When I go out in Hexham and I talk to people from all around the country and internationally. I was told recently the Dutch love the era, so you may well get more Dutch people coming across. This is, we have a bigger reach. The forum is part of ourselves. We're the sole owners of the forum. It's returning to profit, and that, I can't underestimate how good that is. How many cinemas collapsed in the country? They survived through the pandemic, and it was due to their fantastic board keeping it going. And we supported them going forward. We always help them going forward, as you did yourselves going forward. And it's really great that they're going forward. We'll continue that support with them. They still need to invest in their business. They still need to build up their reserves, their rainy days. We all relied on our rainy days. I remember when I first came chair, there was a lot of challenge about why we needed a reserve. Surely we should draw down our reserve. I was so glad we kept our reserve. It kept us going, it kept the forum going. So we do all need our reserves going forward. So the future. So you will recall that we held workshops with yourselves and others in the village. So that was help with the Centre for Rural Design. So that was funding we got from the Northumberland County Council to do work with them. And that was really to start thinking about how best can the partnership support Hexham. So we're thinking through what is it that we can do to support Hexham the best. We also looked at documents that you prepared. So there was Unpacking Your Place, the tourism strategy. So those were key documents that we looked at going forward. And I think one of the key issues that came always out to us from the tourism strategy and Unpacking Your Place is Hexham is a truly year-round destination. I'm really pleased to say our economy is improving. There's more shops opening, there's more restaurants surviving, opening, there's more leisure scene opening for both residents and visitors alike. Hexham is a perfect location. We touched on what the previous gentleman said about cycling. We're on the main cycling road. The Hadrian's Wall path, cycling routes, but ideally placed for if you want to go to the North Pennines, you want to go into Hadrian's Wall. And it's really the only town in this area that's capable of consistently attracting visitors to the Wall at Kielder and Allendale. We're just really well located. We also have the cultural activities going on there, so we're an absolute key destination for people to come. We have the arts, culture offer, and we have designated as an arts town, as Penny rightly reminds me. So we are uniquely placed going forward. If you look at what the region's looking at as well, the Mayor has made it clear that culture and tourism is one of her key cornerstones of the regeneration in the area. It's also Northumberland's key regeneration cornerstone. They want to put funding into it. They want to see a regenerative visitor economy, and they're producing a lot of documents about how that can work. Again, picking up what the gentleman said before, yes, we're ideally placed for active cyclists coming to Hexham. If we improve that infrastructure, we're really ideally placed for that. So I and the board really feel this is where the partnership can make a difference. Seize the opportunities of where we are and what we've built over the years, and build on that momentum. Regionally, really promote our cultural offer, act as the driver for the public, voluntary and private sectors to invest and innovate and really collaborate like they've never done before to make Hexham a place where people want to come. So we will try and make sure that's where our direction of travel is going. That's really where we want to go. That's where we think the opportunity lies for the partnership to make a difference for Hexham. We will retain and maintain the successes we achieved. So we're not going to just leave anything behind. We will still organise our programme of events for residents and visitors, and we will still carry on that activity. We'll extend and develop these activities, working again with the businesses. So it's interesting the gentleman was saying about the road closures and the data, and did it have an impact on trade? And I think that's one of the things that we want to really explore is, well, it's great having an event, but what is the impact on Hexham? Where are people coming from? How long are they staying? What is the economic impact? So we're trying to work with the businesses in the area to understand how these all work. There are data sets out there, place informatics that have this information. So we're trying to probably try and understand better all the activities. So if we do this, what's the impact? What's the impact with the traders? So we're trying to make a better connection with the traders and the hotels in the area to understand what our activity are doing. One of the key issues you've raised over the period, and we're entering a busy period, we do a lot in the autumn and winter, but we don't do so much in the summer. So there may be opportunities to try and work with the businesses yourselves to try and see if there are activities we could do more in the summer. Again, tapping into the businesses, what they want. You know, we could have, in theory, restaurant weeks. We could, in theory, have push Valentine's. We could, in theory, in the summer, better utilise the market, you know, that 6 week period. You know, we could encourage young entrepreneurs to set up stalls. We could work with the schools. You know, there are real opportunities that we could have by having more footfall in Hexham. People could come, and so there's real opportunities to do that. So we really are ambitious to innovate and provide new attractions, attract vibrancy to the town. So, you know, sorry, I'm repeating. So I think one of the lessons we've learned from Hexham is that working more with the independent traders in the town, so they can help us more. So it's not so much a partnership approach, it's working with the traders. One of the areas we're looking at is working with partners such as the Queen Hall. There may be opportunities to apply for lottery funding to develop a cross-cutting internship scheme for the cultural sector organisations in Hexham, building what we've already got. For the Christmas project, we'll be bringing in teenagers and we'll be mentoring them through the process so they can learn the process of doing that activity. Also, Ho Hexham, we hope to have a Made in Hexham brand. So again, this is really building up that whole image of Hexham and building it up. This could be, you know, in theory, go on to visit Hexham store. It could be virtual, it could be reality, it could be more. So it's building that brand name of Hexham up. I mean, I'm a member of the rowing club. I know the kids at the Hexham Rowing Club are developing their own loungewear, you know, just, and it's got Hexham on it. So people are proud of it. So I think we need to build on that pride of Hexham. You know, Hexham, people are Hexham really proud of Hexham, and let's build on that pride and make Hexham known across the country. A lot of conversations with yourself is around money, rightly around money. And, you know, and I and the board are always enormously grateful for the steadfast support you've given to the partnership through the years, in particular COVID. You know, it was really challenged to COVID because a lot of our income streams dried up, the forum dried up. So we're really, really grateful for all the steadfast support you've given us. I mean, you know, we put our application in, 50% of our total costs come from yourselves. So we are really appreciative of that. It allows us to have the fantastic team to do all the fantastic work that we do across the period. But I and the board do recognise the challenges this faces you, that money is tight, you don't have an excess of money, and that we do recognise that we do need to, in effect, stand up more on our own 2 feet. A lot of that work we did on charity work was to try and do that. We didn't succeed. But I suppose where we see the opportunity going forward to increase the support is really engaging more with the independent businesses, having the independent businesses on to give us that entrepreneurial flair. And also to probably give us a more of a strategic and measured approach to all the work we carried out in partnership. As I discussed before, we do think there are opportunities to draw down funding, especially if we go down the culture and the tourism angle. We think there's funding there because the mayor's being clear that is an angle. We probably will need support from you as a town council to lobby more for people like the Northumberland County Council to put this more on their agenda. But that, I think, would be a partnership between ourselves to try and really push forward a narrative about why Hexham should be invested in as a culture and visitor economy place. So I suppose we have submitted our bid. And I really hope you carry on your steadfast support for ourselves and continue the success and join. I mean, for me, it's building on the success we've already achieved. Jez put down some fantastic foundations for us with Deborah and the new board who are coming through. I think we can make a real difference to Hexham. And I really thank you for all the work you've done to us over the years. I'm really more than happy to answer any questions. As I say, Deborah answered all the difficult ones.
Right, so Deborah, do you want to say anything before?
Well, thank you for inviting us, first of all. Yes, just to say that I absolutely echo that the time for Hexham, I think, is now. I don't think there have been any greater opportunities in the last decade or even more. And I really absolutely believe that if we are brave and ambitious and bold about what we think that Hexham can achieve, then we are the ones who can make it happen.
Okay. Right, so we've got questions. So I'll go Mike and I'll go Penny and Susanna.
Thanks for that. Just two questions. Just a problem I've had with just in terms of grants. So I'm a technophobe, and Facebook's really kind of good. What have you done in terms of those that are too old or can't afford it, that don't have Facebook? How do you tackle that problem, trying to get a message out where somebody doesn't have a computer, is not computer literate, or do you not see it as an issue?
You mean visitors to Hexham?
Well, just if you've got messages to send out, you've got comments to send out, how do you sort of do for the, how do you sort of cope with the non-computer or mobile phone person, or do you not see that as an issue?
I mean, I suppose from my perspective, there are channels we use, and we do use links. We have a newsletter that goes out occasionally, and issues like that. And I think for me, I suppose in terms of our partnership, we send out regular,
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the event listings, I'm sure you've seen there are big posters all around the town. So, and there's, Hexham is quite a conversational town. So there is also, there's a lot of informal communication that happens. But we're always aware of it. I mean, as you'll know, there are people who will always want newspapers, who will always want magazines, who will always want things to be printed, but that comes at a cost. So that will have some, potentially have impact on what we're able to do. But we work a lot with the Hexham Courant. There's a lot of the stories, most of the stories are in the Hexham Courant, and we'll keep an eye on it and take feedback from people as to how they would prefer their information and react accordingly.
But I think in terms of the business economy, a lot of people do rely on the traditional now, isn't it? The people who use the phone.
Yes, they do. Yeah. But there's more and more of a shift in that direction.
Did you have a second question?
Yeah. So, again, people might have looked at this, but when I was looking at setting up various groups, have you looked at the CIC? You talked about number 28 becoming a charity.
Yes.
I know that I think the CIC is a very fast way of selling. I presume you've looked at that, and it doesn't suit it. Oh yeah, because you talked about years. I thought, is it going to take years to set them up as the CIC?
Well, there's two things. There's the actual process of becoming a charity, but then there's the actual building the confidence of the people to become a charity. So it's not just a case of the actual process of becoming a charity, it's building the confidence of the people at number 28 and the board that they feel that they can do that. So I think it'd be wrong for the partnership to rush someone into making a charity and stand alone and then fail. I'd rather take a long game, build them up, support them, make sure that they're in the right position. I don't, and that will take a number of years, and to get into that position, we want them to be a success. And I think as a partnership, we'll always stand by them and build them and make sure that they get there.
Penny?
Right, that's very interesting. Thank you. I think I've got some questions to ask that I don't want an answer to as a sort through. So I'm wondering how other community partnerships are constituted. So whether you've looked at those as a way of solving the problem of accessing money. That's just a question. Because I have slight concerns about the fact that we fund half of your activities because we're in an elected council. So it might be that after May, the disposition of that council is not the same. So, and that's troubling, I think, because I think the work you do is really important. But then, also I'm just thinking about data sharing. So you were talking about the evidence of people coming from far away and staying on us. So the Queen's Hall shared some findings from their data at the Cultural Hub, which was really interesting. So I'm wondering whether that conversation is going on throughout the town.
Yes. Now, I initially asked Queen's Hall what kind of data they had and how we could use it, because in my mind, the data is evidence of what we've already achieved and will feed into what we can achieve moving forwards. And we do have, I think, a bit of a gap in that knowledge. It's interesting that David said just earlier there that how many businesses have profited on a Sunday. Now, what I would like to know is how many people came, what actual financial contribution did they actually make to this? And we just don't have that data as a group of people at the moment. Museums also said that they have some data which would help. So we've got somewhere to start from. But it's very definitely a conversation, and I also aim to talk to the hotels and accommodation providers, the racecourse, anybody that has a potential reach and is already acting as a sort of an income generator for the town. And that just gives us a much stronger place to start from, to be able to look at bids and to be able to evidence those bids.
And we can purchase data, so there's data sets out there, all shops purchase data, so there's companies like Place Informatics where we can purchase data for, and it's not just data now, it goes back to 2019 or so you can see trend analysis. So we can start analysing, you know, if we hold an event, how many people are coming, where they're coming from, how much they're spending, so all that information is available online to purchase it, and it's all compliant with GDPR. Unfortunately, we're all pinging away on our mobile phones, and we're being tracked everywhere. So, so we have that. We can purchase that data. But you're right. We need to go probably to the people on the ground who have that, you know, who have the knowledge, better knowledge than just the data. Yeah.
It's just acting as that central point, and sharing it for the good of all, and as understanding how to use it so that it can be positive for the town.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's certainly what Graham was recommending when we had that business analysis. There was various kits that you could buy, and as well as the data kits to buy. I think that would be absolutely invaluable. I've had a great time with community partnerships in the last few years. I'm on top of roofs and dressed up and playing cricket and all of that. It's been an absolute blast. You guys do amazing work the job of promoting Hexham. However, I find myself on the steering committee of number 28 at the moment. So to follow up on Mike's question. Obviously, you want it that you see them as a sort of fledgling that you want to sort of launch, that you've nurtured up, and that's brilliant because it does amazing work in my ward in Hexham East, saving lots of money and time and really, you know, checking in with those families and people who need it. So we have been looking at the quicker way, the stepping stone CIC leading on to the CIO, and I think that's possibly the way it will happen. And we just need to know that you're on board with this sort of smooth transition, and that any funds in there, because I've been looking at the financial sheet that you said will be portable over.
Absolutely,
with that statement of understanding that will happen. But we're hoping to definitely do it faster than years, because as Penny's saying, tie in with any kind of change. We're very keen to sort of get up and running and stand on our own 2 feet and apply for funding. So that your help is invaluable with that.
Absolutely, and I've committed to the board when we met and said we will do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Thank you.
I've highlighted on a number of occasions how difficult it is to be a charity. So I see you as a lender of last resort in terms of number 28 and the forum, because of the complexities of simply being a charity involved with other charities. It's not easy, and to untangle it is a huge job. So I'm definitely agreeing with your strategy. I'd like to know what your priorities are as I look around Hexham and see what other towns do. I think there's a huge need for a Chamber of Commerce to include the big things. The independents have a huge say, but there's some big companies in Hexham, and I think they could play a bigger part. Even things like, I don't know, say we had a Pride of Hexham, you know, that sort of event where it could be sponsored by the Tesco's or Eggers or some of the major retailers, Marks and, well, I couldn't say Marks and Spencer's, but the other big retailers. We talked about funding, and it's difficult. It's difficult, and to an extent, there's an over-reliance on the town council, which Penny's highlighted. I'd like to see encouragement from the mayor of the North East, and from the county council. Could you tell us a little bit more about? I mean, there was a time when the community partnership didn't ask for money from the community chest, for example, from the county council, which was an open door. Are there any of those pots of money that you've highlighted that could be of benefit to Hexham?
So I'll probably leave it. So there was a recent event. It was Destination.
Yes, it was the regenerative tourism launch. So the details are sketchy at the moment because that was just the launch. And there is a document and a framework that's come out of that just in the last couple of weeks. So we're looking at that at the moment. But it makes it very clear that it is one of the top priorities for the North East Combined Authority. So there will be money to follow it. They have a target of, I think it's something like, I can't remember the financial target, but there's a big financial target in terms of what the region will deliver through regenerative tourism. So there's going to be money attached to that, without a shadow of doubt.
You see, Penny touched upon it in previous meetings. We don't have a great deal of joined-up thinking sometimes. There's always wonderful assets in Hexham.
Yeah.
And I would include, it's not just about, and I'm obsessed with it sometimes, not just about the Abbey. There's a race course there, there's the forum, all the events that take place at Queen's Hall. Those all should all be integrated somehow with your other top of it. Is that something you aspire to?
Well, I mean, you probably know that there is a cultural network, which is all of those cultural organisations, and we meet quarterly now, and now meeting actually more regularly than that to pursue specific projects. And I absolutely agree. I think that that's what we need, and it's kind of what I was saying with the brave thoughts, really. We need to bring everybody together, to bring the knowledge of everybody together, to bring the experience and the skills and the talent of everybody together to move Hexham forward. So very much see that as being part of what we do.
Thank you.
I absolutely agree with you. I think, this is an opportunity for us. I think it's a chicken and egg situation to some extent. We have to say this is what Hexham is, and this is what we're going to do, and this is what we can offer, and to make that pitch to, it's going to be a crowded field. There's the northeast, there's a lot of towns in the northeast. There'll be a lot of towns be thinking the same as us ourselves. So we need to come together and say what is our USP, what is our pitch, and why should you invest in Hexham? What are the things we want people to invest in Hexham? And that's the dialogue we need to have with the businesses and the hotels, and trying to understand what that ask is. And also, I suppose, from yourselves, it's putting Hexham on the political map as for funding as well. So it's a partnership approach, really. I absolutely agree that we have an opportunity.
But those entities that we're talking about constituted by various venues.
Yeah.
The Queen's Hall's a great example. Penny Parliament, an event in the park, huge success, brought loads of people.
Yeah.
The cinema is another one that can pack the place out, and all the restaurants. But I think it should filter down, but it's got to filter up first.
It's got to filter up as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I've raised this before, and it's a bit of a hobby horse of mine, really. Is that because I was a member of the community partnership in the olden days when it was first set up, and it was a very different animal. But I think there were elements to the way that it was organised that have been sacrificed unnecessarily. This is my view. And there's a big driver in terms of what you're saying, and entirely understandable, which is about innovation, money, about bringing money to the table. But if it doesn't reflect the people of the town and all those myriad groups, organisations that are beavering away under the surface, who might even not know that the community partnership is behind the big events in the town. And I do feel that the community partnership is missing a trick, because if that money evaporates, for example, whatever that money is, then you've got somewhere to go. Because if you haven't engaged those people, we did used to have about 30 groups represented in our meetings, and that was the period when number 28 was set up, when the cinema was bought. So it wasn't that it was just a massive talking shop about with people with no resources, because people have got huge resources. They're your volunteers, they're the people of the town, and I do make this plea often because I'm a Democrat at heart.
Yeah.
And I just wonder whether, if you're, well, that's the point of today, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is that you might look at some way that you can access what the energies, the activities.
Yeah.
I mean, we see them here. We have presentations all the time of groups that are operating throughout the town, and they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And it might be that they don't want to come to that party, but they don't have the opportunity to do it.
I think that's one of the reasons why we did that work with the Rural Design Centre, is trying to understand, and that's why I called the stakeholders and the board, and to understand where we can best provide support. And came out of that, a lot of the support was around tourism, but it was also about engaging with the business community. I picked up on the point before, there isn't really a forum for the business community in a minute, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why the independent traders are coming to us as well, and why it's an opportunity for us to create that community within the business. So I think you're right, there are lots of communities. And my impression of Hexham, I live in Hexham, is there is a really strong community, that presentation there was a fantastic presentation on the cycling community, and talks to you a lot about the environmental community. There are a lot of strong community groups here, and I think for me it's positioning the partnership where is the gap and how can we best support Hexham. And I think from our point of view, our strategy going forward is we feel this is the way forward, going, trying to really push the economic regeneration of Hexham through tourism, the visitors through economy, culture in those areas. And we will engage all the people in that process. We won't do it alone. We'll make sure that everybody's part of that journey. Because you're right, there's no point doing something without bringing everybody on that journey.
Good. So I'll just wrap it up. So I was really attracted to how many times you said the word opportunity when you gave your speech there, which is really good. And as we know, we're coming into the busy season now. When Hexham comes alive, once the autumn comes and we've got Spook Night, fireworks, etc., remembrance, and then all the way into Christmas time. I think Hexham comes into its own, becomes hugely busy from now on all the way to the Christmas time. But as you rightly pointed out, there has been some new things that this council has brought in, such as the music and bandstand and the bluegrass festivals, which really, I always talk to people and go like, you have to remember 4 years ago we were coming out of COVID. And that was one of the strategies, was how do we get, this town is a community town, and it was like, how do we get that community safely out of their houses to stop fearing the COVID and actually being back to where it was a town like, the population coming together and talking to each other and massing around the town centre, massing around the bandstand, etc. And, so that was a proper strategy in there when we said, right, let's do the music in the bandstand and then expand into the bluegrass. It was very much a way of like, come on folks, it's now safe, let's come out, you can social distance, get that confidence up, re-engage our economy, people start buying the foodstuffs and engaging with our shopkeepers and stuff. And I think it's been a brilliant strategy actually, because we've seen lots of, why are lots of independent shops open now? And it's that's the evidence. If it wasn't working, those shops would still be closed, and not. And we're seeing lots of really innovative and independent traders who have actually taken big risk, really big risk, and actually like saying, yeah, I'm going to do it, and it's just looking really good. Coupled with the other things, we've obviously had the high street heritage zone. I mean, I think that's been a real boon to the town. Obviously we've lost Marks and Spencer's, but the range came in, so that didn't take long. So again, I think there's a confidence out there that this town is really buoyant. When you compare, the high street is very difficult for many other towns, and ours seems to be, bucking the trend, and we see Euro Lounge coming. They're seeing how good they've had it for the last year, so that's really positive. But I think certainly, I think if we can look at that attractiveness of bringing events in the earlier part of the year, the springtime, I think that would be really attractive. I think the summertime probably kind of looks after itself a lot. But I think that's bringing the springtime in. Can we get that? Just is there a gap there where we can actually start getting people to come to Hexham in the spring, and then they get the repeat customer going, actually it's really nice town, I come in the summer and I come in. But yeah, I think that's where I would like to see things. Good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so we're now going to go back to item number 6, which is a minute of the last meeting, which was held on Monday, the 9th of September. You will all have a copy. Is there any reservations? May I sign those off as a true record? Page 1, page 2, page 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Want to say anything? Yeah. Right, so that's item 6. We now head to item number 9, which is the allotment plan transfer. Andrew, you lead this one?
Yeah, so pretty much everything is through the allotments. With it being a transfer of land, it has to be agreed by the council. The key things that are outstanding is there's some so there's some restricted covenants on the land. One is that it's supposed to have a house on, and there isn't a house, and it can't be a house. It can't be a building that's sells wine or is a skinnery or a blacksmith shop or a butcher shop or etc. So it's arguable that this is in breach of covenant. So what the solicitor suggests is that the other party take out a policy to prevent that from being an issue for us. So we're at a stage now where, other than that, everything is in place and ready to go. So as long as you're happy that, as long as we have that indemnity insurance, then the transfer can take place. All other matters having been discussed and decided.
Can I ask a question about that covenant? So the covenant says there should be a house on it and there isn't one.
Yes.
Is that the breach of the covenant?
Yes.
How extraordinary. Well, I suggest we build a house.
Well, it has to be a house of the value of £600.
Well, a shed. There you go.
No,
Okay.
there was a minimum of
It's a
£600.
tiny sliver. The one right next to it, it's a tiny sliver of land.
No, I know which way the land is. I just asked you. Yeah.
So we can do a build a tiny house.
The tiny house.
So somebody did try that planning application when the person before it tried to want to put a house on it and sell it.
I remember.
Okay, well, who's going to invoke the covenant anyway? Us.
Well, it could be any amount of interested parties that say, you know, you're breaching the covenants, but it's extremely unlikely. But even though the solicitors pointed it out, so they suggest we get them to take out the insurance against it.
So when you say them, the people who are owning it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so no cost to us.
No cost to us. It's just
So there's legal costs to this transaction.
there's no legal costs.
It's been paid for that way about it.
Yes.
Right, so can I have a show of hands so in favour of the allotment transfer? Be pleased to see the back of this one.
Yes, it's only going on for 4 years or something.
But I think we might get 3 allotments when the land when they come. We get 3 more allotments out for one.
Have they got to have big houses on them?
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, 10, to receive an update on Hexham Arts Town Initiative.
Exactly. Yeah, so I don't know how much people know about this, but as referred to by the Community Partnership, there is a cultural hub that meets where there are representatives of all the cultural organisations in Hexham. And there is a plan, I think it's called it a plan, to make Hexham an arts town. So, because of some of the cultural developments that are in the pipeline but also happening anyway, it's very interesting, the data that the Queen's Hall is bringing forward about people coming from places like Portsmouth to follow comedians, and they travel long distances. So there are people coming from outside the normal 35-mile radius, which was basically the furthest that people would travel, and the last piece of research that they did. So this is it. I find this very interesting. I really applaud this initiative, and we're putting together some terms, some reference terms of reference, yes, because we actually already are an arts town. So 20 years ago, we got the status of Hexham Arts Town because it was actually a booming arts centre then. And then it was sort of put in a drawer for various reasons. So I am confident this will happen. The climate is different now, but there's so much arts, culture, music, and it will really help to in grant applications for all those cultural institutions that also put Hexham on the map in a very unique way. So you have Wigtown Booktown, you have whatever it is, which is a food town in Scotland. And 20 years ago, there was no such thing as an arts town, and there is no such thing as an arts town now. So we will be the first. So, so there's work going on with that, and it's we can keep giving you updates, but it's there's some, I think something that is that the time is right to do it, and it has so many benefits, huge number of benefits.
Will you be constituted? Will you be a separate organisation or part of Hexham Community Partnership?
I mean, it's really down to the people who get involved and drive it. There may be some initiatives that demand a separate constitution for taking things forward, but it could well be that just different things are taken forward collaboratively by different members of the group.
For me, it depends how many volunteers you've got. And if you've got 20, you can go it alone. If you've got 3 or 4, you join with Hexham Community Partnership. But for a new organisation, it's easier to start a charity than it is to really
I don't think the ambition is to set up a new organisation. This is a statement about the nature of one of the strengths of the town. It isn't actually about setting up an organisation. It's about describing, being with support. So 20 years ago, the Arts Council agreed, Tyneside District Council agreed, the County Council agreed that was what we were. So we were. That's it. So if you like, it's a strap line that people have bought into.
So it's a statement and a strategy then?
Yeah. So it doesn't need to be an organisation.
Yeah.
But the cultural partners we're in the process of designing what the remit will be, and it basically covers absolutely everything. But it can be used through the schools, it can be used in all sorts of ways. There's no cost attached to it. It's just a way of trumpeting what we do. And there'll be a huge opportunity for publicity around this, because there are no other arts. There's an artist town, which is Cooperbury, but the arts town, I don't think there is one. I still don't think there is one. So I think we would be the first. And it just reveals all the arts activities and music, or all the things that go on in Hexham in a very particular way.
Should that not be a strategy of the town council?
Well, too late. No, but it can be adopted, obviously.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It can be bolted on.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like I don't know if we still are, but we were a fair trade town. As a town council, we're a living wage employer. As a town council, we're part of the arts town.
Well done.
Can I just add on?
Yes.
Yes.
I think essentially it's a lens, it's a bit like a lens. It's, if we're going to do an activity, it's how would an arts town do it? So, I don't know, the example we used the other day was, if you're going to build a new play park, how would it be an arts town? You know, how would you do it so that it had that creative influence behind it to maximise imagination and integration of imagination with the other things that we already do. So it's not necessarily about doing new things, although I think we will. It's about how we do them slightly, you know, just looking at them with a slightly different viewpoint so that we can have that arts input and get more creative in the things we do. And there should be a coalescence of different things going on that's going to bring it together so that it visibly looks and feels different by all these different actions being done through an arts town lens.
Right.
Cultural hub. Who kind of chairs and leads on that one, the existing one there?
Well, it rotates.
Oh, right.
And so they're hosted by different organisations, but up to just it was organisations. So it's the Queen's Hall, the cinema, the Hexham Community Partnership, the library service.
So all the
Us.
equal partners.
Yeah, all of them.
Mike. Mike.
Can I just come back to the point that Andrew made actually? So, for example, as a town council, particularly in planning, we have a lens, don't we, which is about sustainable materials and particular street lights, which is it's driven by our environmental commitment. So that's a similar thing to what we already do.
My own concern is somebody like the Northumberland County Council. So you've got a mural and the problems we have as a community centre. We know that the County Council Conservation Officer telling us to put it behind a wall. It's not the inspiration we're looking for, is it?
No, but then we don't have to be an arts town to experience that, do we?
Well made.
Yeah.
But just on Steve's point and Andrew's point, then should we, as a town council, then agree to adopt this as put it into a motion or whatever we need to do? So I've been talking about the play park, and just as Andrew said, should we incorporate so we don't go off from, or Steve just said, something gets stuck behind the wall because plan stuff, until the town council has adopted it because we put it forward as a motion.
Well, I think that there'll come a moment when that's the right thing to do. This is just information, really.
Yeah.
It's just looking at what it means. And then we can bring presumably the cultural hub will agree at some point fairly soon, hopefully, and it will come forward and then we can support it or not. And there we go. It would be a shame if you didn't, but it'd be
Agree.
So here's a link for Hexham, the cultural capital of Northumberland. Get out of that one. Right.
Thank you very much.
Home of life.
Yeah. Right. Good. Okay.
Cultural capital of the Tyne Valley.
All of them. Eric would be so pleased if we used that. Right. Okay. Number 12, to receive an update on Hexham potential development sites. Anything on middle school?
Councillor Brennan and I went to a meeting to see the plans for said new site, ahead of it being going to strategic planning, and then the parcels of that land coming back through local planning. We liked what we saw. It seemed very well thought out. We can't see to it. She's about to be released, but it was very green. And community garden was still in place. I think that we can say a bit of addition here and there. Social elements. There was everything basically we asked for in our survey and got feedback on. So they have listened to the town so far. We have to steer it still, but it's looking good, and we'll put it on our comms as soon as the outlines are released.
So I'd like to add something to that, because I was very impressed by what they've done, how much listening that they've done. But of course, the devil is always in the contracting. And this was something that I mentioned on more than one occasion. And I don't think I would be wrong in saying that Northumberland County Council missed some opportunities to put really, really punitive clauses in contracts so that you don't get builders who suddenly say, oh, I'm sorry, I've run out of money, so I'm going to put, whatever it is, I've got to build houses that have got 16 bedrooms and a jacuzzi when they're supposed to be building social housing. That somehow the council's got to make sure that those people who undertake to do the work are serious about doing that.
As we did in the Heritage Zone as well. So we don't want to end up like another old bus station again. No. We have no pullback, no powers. That's, and we also asked for, as well, the Advance Northumberland Building Women with Northumberland County Council to do some of the possible social housing bill, because that would be cost effective. So that's, again, something we're really angling for and pushing for in the final scheme.
So I think we have to be aware of, because we're a partner in this, that is something that we really push hard for as a town council, that we don't end up with something that doesn't resemble what we've agreed to, for whatever reason.
Yes, it looks like it now, but it could just all be a mirage.
Yes, it could be tarmac.
And timescale, where I would, because there's an election coming up.
Well, yeah, the timescale for the plan to be released is quite soon, but the BBC are still very much on site, at least for another year, I think.
Yeah.
So it won't, but they're looking after the site quite a lot. They're doing a lot of roof work and protecting the windows, and they've got CCTV going there to protect the site itself, and they allow resident access on it for recreational activities and through to community gardening. I think they're very good partners with BBC, and they fill flats in town with their crews for months on end. So it's in good hands until it goes. So they really, the duty care of the County Council is that they've made sure that there is a kind of caretaker effectively until these plans go through. So it's looking good.
Yeah, and they're not getting any other contracts out after that.
It just it smells a little bit of delay.
Well, I think
we've seen so much in the past.
Oh yes, but the process has to be. But the processes are going to take some time. So might as well have people on the site while that's happening.
Okay, right, item B, Old Bus Station.
Oh, yay. So the Wombles had a really good protest. We chanted, we sang, it was great, and cleaned up the site for them. But, and protested that the 215 that we asked for in January and February still haven't been served. Political will seems to be there, but it seems to be a case of officer-led obfuscation and procrastination. I keep being told every month I prod that we are closer to everything being sorted, but we've taken no chances, so we did the protest anyway, and we've sent everything to County Hall, and hopefully it'll be paid this week to push Dysart even further into moving along on both bits of the site.
Will Dysart develop it? Or will
We're not negotiating for them. They're going to sell it on to a developer. I can't see too much of various parties involved. But it's Dysart who needs to sell to the various people who want it.
But the dialogue hasn't broken down, they're still talking.
No, we should know something by the end of the month, I was told. So I'll have to just keep pushing for that.
Okay. Toilets.
No, I had an update last time.
Yeah, West Road, no update on that one. Police houses, so police houses, I can't remember if I said this before at the last council or not. But it all went pretty quick. There was a freedom of information request sent in by somebody asking how much the police had paid in council tax for those redundant houses, and that was a sum of money. And that became public. And then within a few hours after that, I received an email. Actually, I'd seen the FOI, and then within a few hours of that FOI coming out and becoming public knowledge, there was an email issued hurriedly from the Office of the Police Commissioner saying, right, we've decided to put the house, we're going to get rid of the police houses, we're going to put them up for sale. Which is all like, well, you know, like two things happened in one day. It was really, really surprising. So that was really surprised after so many years of stagnation. So we'll watch this space, but it looks as though things may be happening at long last.
So can I ask whether there's any details about whether those houses have been sold individually or to a developer?
I think the police estates will be considering our options now, but the intention is to release.
Right, so it's 57k, you did tell us last
I did.
time, it's 57k in council tax. It's a waste of money.
Yeah, and that was only for 1 year, obviously that's for 1 year, and I was obviously got to multiply that by the 7 years of other years of stagnation, so there's an awful lot of money just, that the police don't have to be wasted. Old workhouse, there was
Yes, I do
something.
have an update on that. There was a lot of antisocial behaviour there last month, so we had to have the NCC antisocial teams in and the police in, and that's been knocked on the head now. 79 people called out to board it back up and check out the insides to make sure it was all right and wasn't being used for dubious purposes. And work is going to start on the apartment plan that was already submitted in March 25 next year. So that's good news, just to be like things are moving.
Good. Cycle plan.
The cycle path is going well. They're on course to start work on that December, January, after years of planning. We've been looking at junctions to slow down people on Dean Street. So the junction there will change to slow down the traffic and using it as a lap room, which was one of our early petitions, which is great. They're putting in more crossings, they're going to put in more benches, they're going to put in cycling infrastructure, and they're hopefully going to replant quite a few of the trees that we wanted replanted for the Queen's Jubilee that didn't get to go ahead because of the electricity cables. So they're looking at that now, which is great news, to replace all the kind of 2-year avenue trees. So yes, work should start in December, January. It's going to be 24 months of work, and it's going to start west to east. So it's going to start at the hospital end and work its way through to Courtbridge. So imagine about a year on our section, and then a year through to Courtbridge to get done. So traffic orders will be in place very soon, and we will circulate those and obviously on our comms to make sure everyone's informed and residents aren't disrupted too much.
Did that go shambles or not? No shambles?
What,
Is that still on for? Is that still on for
I
January?
don't know about the shuttles.
Okay, yeah. Railway building the motor tower. I'm not really on that one. Good, right.
Could I make an unplanned interjection? No? Yes?
No.
Go on.
Oh, yeah.
Rapid round, Penny, go on.
I'm wondering if one of the mayor's announcements, the mayor might say something about the transfer of the museum service to town, please.
Well, that hasn't been decided yet.
Hasn't it? Well, the community partnership seems to think that it has. I seem to think that it has.
I don't know. Well, full council.
I thought they'd exercise what's rights.
Well,
Is that alternate one kind of year? Moving all our museums over to time.
yeah.
No, okay.
Okay. Well, I don't know enough about those. That's a kind of right. Mayor's announcements. So I attended the Wombles and the campaign for this section 215 at the old bus station, and it's looking an absolute mess again. There's lots of weeds growing everywhere and cans and litter everywhere. So well done by the Wombles collecting many bags of rubbish. But, it's a job that should not need to be done, and Dysart should have taken responsibilities. There's still old metal bus station things still standing there, that should have been taken away year 1, and it's now year 7. It's just disgraceful by Dysart, I'm afraid. I had the honour to open the range, the new shop that replaced Marks and Spencer's. That was a remarkable 100 people standing in the queue on Friday morning. It was really chilly as well, and the first people had been sitting there since 6 a.m. And they won a special prize.
I can tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, something for that children believers. Yeah, it was, so yeah, I mean, really well-stocked shop. I spoke with the management and the staff, and you know, they're all very, very positive about coming to Hexham. You know, there's a lot of people who actually got the jobs. There, so that was good to see. But it's really well stocked out. Please go and visit and see what it's about. I attended the Hexham Music Festival with Councillor Grennan. We went to see a jazz. It was good, really good. I mean, obviously Hexham probably has fantastic acoustics, and you know, to see it used for such an event is very, very good. Right, so looking forward, we have so this is when we get really busy. So between now and the next town council, we have Spook Night, and all that goes around it. That's the busiest night of the year. You know, the town's absolutely packed around, all the restaurants, everything else. We have the fireworks, which Exeter Town Council's running again this year, so that's on the 2nd of November, and then on the 10th of November is Remembrance Day, where we have many people turn up to pay their respects. So really, really busy programme. Is that when it's Lantern? That's November. Yeah, that's in the, that'll be the next announcement next month. So this obviously just takes it as a.
They're not getting the most important one.
Oh yes, of course, yes. Yes.
Christmas is cancelled.
Yes, most important for some people. That is the Home Energy Electric Vehicle event on October the 19th in Hexham Abbey, 10 o'clock to 3 p.m.
And the library.
In the library, sorry, Hexham Library, sorry, and Hexham Abbey. Yeah, so all things, you know, there's things about grants and low income grants and solar panels, etc. heat pumps, you know, everything related to those types of things, cars and vehicles and what have you, and bicycles. So, you know, to attend, that's it.
Sorry, last one for ages, November the 15th.
November 15th.
What time? I don't know.
Yeah, so that's, that's for next month, so that's for next month.
Just showing a healthy interest.
Yes, you. Oh yes, and I was, yes, I was some seating, I haven't finished anything. I was some seating at the skate park, so well done to those involved in that, Susan, particularly.
The soap concrete.
Yeah, so it's very, very well done. And I'm pleased to announce that after 2 years of a lot of work gone into this, Hexham has become the first place in the whole of Northumberland, and I think north of the Tyne, as I guess, to have a paddle court. So paddle is a cross between tennis and squash. The paddle court received substantial investment from County Council, so we thank them for that. And so that's now available. It's available for any members of the public to come and play at a cost. But the cost is very, very competitive compared to all others. And that's based at the Hexham Tennis Club near the cricket club. So that opened just people that day. And I've had a couple of games with them, and I'm now the champion.
Were you very like
I was very like that.
What age group?
So our first game with Pablo, it's really entertaining sport. No. So you don't have to be a member to play the paddle. So there's a basic thing. So, yeah.
You get spotting when you
I was no. It was a big, substantial county council.
Good.
Yeah, and it looks great. Really good. Really nice. Good. So lots of positive things then. Right. Right. To agree. Number 14 to agree. Can't stop coming in.
I have a question. What did we receive funding, a payment for filming?
The BBC filmed at Skate Park and at the playground.
Yeah, because it's jumping down the funded it.
Can we put that towards refurbishing the playground? I can get lots and lots of people to film in this.
Any comments? Any more comments?
Am I allowed to?
No.
Sorry.
You can stand on it.
I've been trying to test.
To add the prospect house, the best house up there, to your target places.
Right. So council opinion, are they all agreed?
Could we make them a bit bigger next time? That's a very big room.
It's
Well,
your
it's incredibly big.
Yeah, it's a way of getting it close.
I know, I'm aware, I'm learning fast.
They do a fine print. I never speak that, yes, you do.
Seriously, don't want a big screen there.
Don't bigger. Seriously, don't bigger. Yes, please.
Yeah. That, if I was ever in power, the first thing I would ban is anything under font 12 these days.
No, 14, please, 14.
It's unbelievable. You go to restaurants, right. Item 15, to note the draft minutes enclosed of committee meetings held in July.
Chair, you have a question.
There's 2 seasons.
Right, so there was financial general purposes on 17 September, so I'll take them page 1.
This is the open question.
Okay.
The staffing subcommittee, does that go through the F&G thing? And is it ministers under the F&G thing?
Are the minutes of the staffing
Yes.
committee?
Are they approved by the F&G thing?
No, I mean, it's
They should.
yeah, I mean, it's staffing's raised at each F&GP, but not, but no, we can do that, that's no problem.
I think that's right.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's the master committee of.
Yeah.
Right, so page 1, page 2, okay. Next one is.
Community engagement.
Is it?
It's that one on the 18th. And that one on the 12th.
That's the, right, next one is community engagement on 18th of July. Page 1, page 2, page 3. Okay.
Yeah, can it be noted though that the community engagement meeting this week is 5 o'clock, not 6, because I'm end of this minute.
Then to the community engagement, 12th September, page 1, page.
Steve, keep me interested. I've not couldn't see the minutes of the staff committee meeting in the most of the attachments you sent out.
No, I mean, as Stephen said, we probably should go to the first. But I shall make sure they're available for tomorrow. And then you can have a look at them and then you can maybe sit down and make this happen tomorrow.
Good. Right. 16, to know any correspondence?
There's meetings and events, the two executive bulletins, Canning News, Northumberland CBA, Christmas Club, Driving Together, the Rural Bulletin. There was also correspondence from Dave Clegg.
Yes.
This is managed to mention.
Yes, so Dave Clegg, formerly of this parish council, and he did a fine job as a councillor, Dave, and he was very the great leader of the neighbourhood plan, and he's highlighted some questions around housing on the Hexham Middle School, all those in the south, and the police, all police housing also. So my thoughts were just, should we get him into planning infrastructure and just have a little conversation with the mayor? Would that be okay with you, Mike? Yeah. I wouldn't suggest doing any presentations. I would just suggest having a quick conversation with them at that meeting, and just do it as a converse rather than a monologue. Just to see what he has to say. But he did an awful lot of work on the neighbourhood plan. That took many years.
Andrew, where are we with the Virgin broadband rollout? We see lots of red marks scattered around.
I've chased them because Suzanne said you wanted to speak to them, and a couple of other people have said they want to speak to them. I've contacted them a couple of times saying we'd like to speak to you, and it's so she's always kind of away from this or whatever. I mean, they said that they're prepared to come and like look at the maps, but whenever I've contacted them, they'll come back. So I shall chase them again.
The theory is to do some like good sites, cobbled streets and all that sort of thing, and replace it with tarmac.
Yeah, well, certainly the inheritance site.
Well, I know they're doing those street.
Get them banged, Derek.
Yeah, we're definitely.
Did you say get them
Yeah,
back?
Yeah.
That's a joke. Are you doing that or not?
You're quicker than me, Penny.
Right, so that's here in the council. Okay, thank you so much.
Well done, Derek.